We never thought in March when we got together for our pilgrimage that something would happen, something close to miraculous started to happen, and people began saying there's a movement going on. It has spread across Japanese American communities across the country, including Canada and South America. Japanese Peruvians, Japanese Alaskans, Japanese Canadians have also been folding and sending cranes. And we realized that the simple act of folding a crane, that we're all somehow rooted to our ancestral ties in Japan.
And within the first week, 10,000 cranes arrived from all over the country. And by the time we went, there were nearly 30,000. Things coming together, being a symbol of our community solidarity and hope for liberation, for peace, and for history to stop repeating itself.
Is yesterday we were in Yuba City. Now we're actually in Marysville, where the Yuba City County Jail has contracted with ICE. There's a segment of it that is also holding people who are seeking asylum, people who are being threatened to be deported. So we went to protest. We were protesting against renewing of the contract by the county. She said 300 people showed up. It was amazing because we actually joined the local social justice organizations that were putting together and have been protesting there. They learned about Tsuru for Solidarity. They contacted us, asked us if we would join. To me, that had a lot of meaning, that we're not standing alone, and the only way we're really going to bring strength to our voice to protest and really stop and close these camps is when we align with other organizations. We're not the ones under attack at this moment, but we have almost more than anybody the moral authority to protest what's happening. Taiko group from UC Davis showed up to drum. Fabulous. Social justice drummers. We've had taiko drummers, but these were social justice drummers. They designed their music to protest. As the speeches went on and people were chanting, and then we started hearing these voices from somewhere. It sounded like it was coming from up high. So then we realized that there were prisoners who were out in the yard and somehow could come to the window and see us, and they could hear us and we could hear them. And they were saying their names. They were saying, let's see if I could do this without getting choked up. They were saying, we love you. Thank you for being there. Don't forget us. To me, it's a miracle that Nancy and I are standing here today because we never dreamed what was going to emerge. And I think it's the timing, it's the climate of political hatred that's being fed and festered today. And there has never been more needed time for all of us to show up. The coalitions we have built, national coalitions with Black Lives Matter, Bend the Arc, Detention Watch Network, Council on American Islamic Relations, we're all realizing we've been working in silos, concerned about our own separate communities, and it's time now that we build this big, strong voice. June 5th to 7th is going to be our national pilgrimage to Washington, D.C. And we're calling on all the members of our JA community to show up, to support us, and to reach out to your friends and neighbors, and to reach out to other allied groups that could join us, so that we carry a voice led by Japanese Americans in alliance with all these other organizations. So I'll just tell you quickly, Friday night on the 5th, we'll gather together in a large space. We're expecting between 2,000 and 5,000 people to show up. But I don't know, we keep getting surprised. Who knows, 10,000 people may show up, we don't know for sure. But we want to gather together to do an orientation so people will know what the march and rally the next day will be like, where people need to stand, how long it will be. We have an idea, it'll be a short half-mile march. All the survivors will be off to the side so that many of them may have walkers, wheelchairs, so that they'll be off to the side. So when they approach the White House, they'll take over and actually leave. They'll be wearing paper cranes around their necks so that when they get to the fence, they'll be able to take that off and be the first ones to hang the tsuru. Then we'll have lines of people who will have strings of tsuru that will be passed out to them, and then there'll be layer after layer of people hanging. The tsurus will be hung on human fences. It's illegal to hang anything on the White House fence itself. So we'll have ropes and ask volunteers to hold the ropes so that people can hang on the ropes. There will be a rally right there in Lafayette Square. There we'll have speakers, Dale Minami, who was the lead attorney for the Coram Nobis case. We're reaching out to Mazie Hirono. We wanted a man and a woman to speak. At this point, we have close to 100 taiko drummers who have agreed to show up. They will line the avenue where we will have our march, and some of them will be on the stage. We'll have other speakers from the other community organizations. That night, we'll have another major gathering for people to get together to debrief their experience. We are providing no food that weekend because we are going to try and keep the cost down as little as possible, and people will be on their own to bring their food, find their food, and just show up. I know the JA groups will all bring their snacks to share with everyone. That evening, we'll also describe what the Healing Circles for Change is all about, because Saturday night will be the last time we'll all be together. Then those people who are interested in participating in the Healing Circles for Change on Sunday will be assigned. They'll go to these small groups, and probably will be in the Kellogg Center, which is part of Gallaudet University. It's walking distance from where the protest is going to be. At Gallaudet University, it is closed that weekend, so they're allowing us to rent their dormitories for all of you who have good backs and don't mind sleeping in dorm rooms. Those rooms will be $75 a room with 2 beds in it. Kellogg Center has some hotel rooms, and we are negotiating now with discount codes for other more conventional hotels. So we're trying to take care of the housing as much as we can. Particularly for students, we want lots of students to show up, so we think the students will fill the dorms. I think there'll be like 450 beds in one place and 300 in another. Follow our website to get all the final details as we work through this. We'll break up into small groups, maybe 15, if we have to, 20 people in a circle. Our hope is that we'll be able to sit in a circle with people from all different communities. We're going to tap into our ally communities, and we want to have this cross-community dialogue. Very simple. It's not psychotherapy, although I'm glad to do that if you need it while we're there. But it'll be an opportunity for us to sit in circle, really face-to-face, human being to human being, with our hearts open, sharing our stories with each other. If you have facilitating skills and interested in facilitating, we're probably going to have 30 or 40 groups. And then from that small group, you'll get to debrief with that small group, and then we'll close. We won't have a gathering. People will go on their own. So we're hoping to start registration at the end of this month. And so you'll have to go to our website to get that information. Wanting a dorm, you can register on that site. We will have discount codes for conventional hotels that are nearby. We're trying to get everything close enough to the Kellogg Center, not like a regular conference where all your needs are taken care of. People are going to have to find their way to the big room when we get that. We also need a lot of help, and we're organizing committees now, action committees that are willing to work together to put in a little time, a lot of time, whatever you can afford. And so we have these subgroups that we're going to be organizing. If you have ideas about how we can raise more money. We have a total budget of $300,000 to pull this off for a minimum of 2,000, maybe 3,000 people. So we're halfway there. People have been incredibly generous, and our website, you can go on our website and see that we have slowly and sometimes dramatically, we've had a couple of angel donors show up and give us $25,000. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder yesterday and said, I'd like to donate $25,000. How do I do that? I could hardly speak, so I hope she got my message. Outreach. And Robin is going to lead the outreach committee, and that is to brainstorm what organizations in this area that we could send speakers or flyers or contact leaders to get the word out. In particular, we want to have a good showing of survivors. We want, yesterday at Yuba City, we thought we were going to have 4 or 5, and we ended up having 7 because 3 others were in the audience. And one man brought a poster of when he was a kid in camp. We're telling survivors, each one get one. If you could bring another survivor, we want to have at least 300 survivors at the very front of the line.
What we'll be doing today is writing on 7-foot by 7-foot piece of origami. What we intend to do is take 100 of these with us to Washington, D.C. and place them on bamboo poles and then hold them aloft in our march as a symbol of all of the different communities meetings, such as here today. So we certainly hope you can come, and we'll plan to come, but if not, at least will be with us when we're at the march.
You are all now suited for solidarity.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. No more concentration camps.
Suited for solidarity. One more time.
Suited for solidarity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.